Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing an Archfiend deck profile. This deck is a really fun deck that can be built extremely cheaply. This deck is probably maybe $10, $20 tops to build the main deck. The extra deck is close to the same. I mean, you can just throw any link monsters you want to as long as you have Master King Archfiend in the extra deck. But it's an interesting it's an interesting deck that plays some of the old cards from Judgment of the Light with the Archfiend monsters, and even older cards from Dark Crisis, which is amazing that I actually get to play those old Archfiends back then. But this deck needs a little bit more support to be really competitive, but it's still a really fun beatdown deck. So without further ado guys, let's get straight on this and I'll show you what I'm playing. So before we do, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing one of my favorite cards, and that is Archfiend Emperor, the First Lord of Horror. So I remember back when I believe it was Dark Worlds. I played this in Dark Worlds because you can normal summon it and it's a level 8 monster, but it does have a restriction that I really don't think should be there. You can normal summon it without tributing, but its original attack and defense becomes half, which is not a big deal. It goes down to 1500. And if this card is summoned this way, it is destroyed during the end phase. Not a big deal. You're going to use up its effect anyways. But this is the effect that I don't feel like should be on this card. You cannot special summon any monsters except fiend monsters, which kind of sucks because you can't overlay with it, and I hate that ability on it. But the rest of its effect is really good because once per turn you can banish an Archfiend from your hand or grave, then target a card on the field and destroy that target, which is really good to be able to pop additional cards on the field, which is really awesome. And also we play plenty of cards in our deck to bring it back from the graveyard, so you can just have a bunch of 3K beat sticks on the field, which is really cool. And then I'm going to be playing one copy of Archfiend Empress, which is the entire reason I wanted to build this deck. I mean, come on. She's awesome. Like, she's really awesome. Like, that's probably the best artwork in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Definitely comment down below and tell me what your favorite artwork of any card is. She is definitely in my top 10 favorite artworks of all time. But basically, if exactly one Dark Fiend monster on the field except this card would be destroyed, you can remove and play a Dark Fiend from your graveyard instead. And when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard, from field to the graveyard, you can select a level 6 or higher Dark Fiend in your grave and accept another copy of yourself and special summon her. So I only play her as a 1-of because she just basically floats and protects some of your other Archfiends. So she's just a good 1-of in the deck. I probably wouldn't play her any more than that. And the cool thing is she actually came from Starstrike Blast, which is just one of the most influential sets of all time. So then I play 3 copies of Archfiend Commander. You have to play 3 copies of Archfiend Commander if you're going to play an Archfiend deck, because what it does is it's really an interesting card, and I really like the concept of this card. If you control an Archfiend monster, you can special summon this card from your hand, but it cannot attack the turn you do, and you can only special summon Archfiend Commander once per turn this way. When this card is special summoned, you have to target an Archfiend monster you control and destroy it. When this card is tribute summoned, you can target a level 6 Archfiend monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. So if you have an Archfiend Commander in the grave and you tribute summon this, you can special summon the one that's in the graveyard and have 2 2500 beat sticks. It's also a retrain of Summon Skull. Same stats, same look, same everything. And Summon Skull is actually considered an Archfiend. But what you do is basically you combo it with Archfiend Cavalry or Archfiend Eccentric, because you normal summon one of them, pop them, get their effects off, and then special summon this from your hand, but it can't attack the same turn. So you really want to get him on first turn, and you want to go first in this deck so you can set up some really cool plays. And I have some tech cards that actually make this deck pretty viable, to be honest with you. Then I only play 1 copy of Terror King Archfiend. I wanted to play the 1 Terror King because it's just such an old, awesome card. I actually had it at 2 in the deck, but I couldn't justify it because of one of its effects. You can't normally flip summon this card unless you have another Archfiend monster on the field, which sucks. And also you take 800 points of damage during each of your standby phases, which also sucks. And then when this card is specifically declared as designated for a target, when it's targeted, you can roll a 6-sided die, and if the result is 2 or 5, you negate the effect. And if you do, destroy it. And also, if it attacks a monster and destroys it by battle, you can it negates the effect, which I like that effect. That effect is the one saving grace about this card. Without that, the card sucks. But back in the day, this card was nuts because you can summon a 2000 body on the board, and it was a super rare, awesome card. But the big thing about this deck is basically if you can get Archfiends on the field and have Paralabyrinth, it boosts them all by 500, which gets them pretty big. Then we play 3 copies of Cavalry. This is basically the monster reborn of the deck. If this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can target an Archfiend monster in your graveyard except another copy of itself and special summon it, but it cannot attack this turn. Not a big deal. Special summon a monster, you know, special summon, like, if this is in the grave and you normal summon this, special summon this guy, and then pop him, you can bring back the first Emperor of Horror back from the graveyard just by special summoning this. So there's little combos in the deck, and this deck just needs a couple more support cards to be really interesting. So then I play 3 copies of Archfiend Eris. This card's a really good card to combo with your Master King Archfiend. Because basically what it does is if this card is sent to the graveyard because of a card effect, or by being destroyed by battle, you can add a Archfiend card from your deck to your hand. Basically, this is the big searcher of the deck. And plus, she's really cute. But basically what you do is you pop her with your Archfiend commander, and then you get a search off, or if you pay life points, you can send a Archfiend monster from your deck to the graveyard equal to the amount you paid, so it combos off with this, or its own effect by paying 500 during your standby phase to send this to the graveyard to get additional searches off. And it also combos off with Tour Guide, because you can normal summon Tour Guide, make Dante, and mill cards from your deck to the graveyard, as long as you don't control him. Then I play 3 copies for the last 3 monsters. I play 3 copies of Effect Veiler. Not Effect Veiler, but Battle Fader. You tribute these off to summon your Archfiend Commander or one of your other monsters you want to tribute summon if you're going to tribute summon. But basically, this also prevents you from getting attacked directly. You special summon it in the battle phase, and it can help you by tributing another Fiend monster. And you can special summon it because it is a Fiend monster. So it's a really good 3 of, in my opinion, to play in this deck. So that's it for the main deck monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So this deck is, I'm telling you guys, this deck is fun. It is a really fun deck. Is it going to win you any tournaments? Maybe a locals, but nothing more than that. But it's still fun. It's a good budget deck. So we're going to play 1 copy of Monster Reborn, just to bring back what we need. Foolish Burial, because it combos off with Call of the Archfiend very well, to send 1 to your graveyard to make it live. 2 copies of Terraforming, because you want to get to Paralabyrinth as quickly as possible. 3 copies of Allure, because everything just about is dark. 3 copies of Falling Down. Yes, I did get the Astral Pack versions of this because I wanted them for you guys. Definitely give me a like for that because I wanted to get the super rare ones for you guys. But basically what this does is that after you activate it, you get to target an opponent's monster and take control of it and destroy this card unless you control an Archfiend monster. And during each of your opponent's standby phases, you take 800 life points. But that's not the big of a deal because you just took their biggest monster and with Falling Down and equip spell card, which is just awesome. It doesn't target, you just equip it, but you activate it by targeting, so it does target. I hate that. It should just say equip this card to an opponent's monster, and not target it. Then for the last 3 spell cards, we play 3 copies of Archfiend Paralabyrinth. Basically, this is the big field spell that you're going to be using. All Fiend monsters gain 500 attack, and then the effect's a little bit confusing, but basically what you do is if you have 2 Archfiends on the field, you can target one of them, banish the other copy, and then special summon another Archfiend monster with the same level as the original targeted one from your, you can special summon it from your hand, deck, or grave, which is cool because it lets you have like another Archfiend First Lord of Horror. But the only thing that I really don't like is that we don't have a good rank 8 to combo with that. So that kind of sucks. But that's it for the main deck spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So we actually play quite a few traps in this deck, and they work very well in here. So we're going to be playing 3 copies of Call of the Haunted. You need the triple Call of the Haunted because this deck does function off of big monsters, and since the Archfiend of Horror pops himself after he's been normal summoned, you can bring him back with Call of the Haunted to have a 3,000 body on board extremely easily. Then I play 3 copies of Call of the Archfiend. I want to get to this card as quickly as possible in my particular build, and I've kind of focused the entire deck around getting them back from the graveyard. But basically, you get to target a level 5 or higher Archfiend monster in your graveyard, discard any Fiend monster in your hand if you do special summon the targeted monster in your graveyard, and you can only use the effect of Call of the Archfiend once per turn. So you can't stack multiple ones, but it's still really, really good to have Call of the Archfiend on the field and then have Call of the Haunted and bring back 2 of these bad boys, have Paralabyrinth on the field, and they're both at 35 and can swing for 7k, which is just really good. Then for my final tech card, guys, you know it was coming. 3 Eradicator. Okay. This card ends games really easily. You can just basically bring this back with Call the Archfiend, Call the Haunted, anything that you want to bring it back with, Cavalry, anything. Tribute it off with Eradicator, and then call spells or traps, whatever your opponent's playing. And this can cripple your opponent's deck so you can get advantage to win. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. And the extra deck's really simple. We don't really touch it all that much, but you have some good options. So we're going to be playing 2 copies of Master King Archfiend. Basically, what this does is once per turn during your stand phase, you have to pay 500 life points or destroy this card. And then once per chain, if you pay life points, you can send 1 Fiend monster from your deck to the graveyard with attack or defense equal to the amount paid. And then once per chain, if a Fiend monster is sent to the graveyard, you can roll a 6-sided die and then apply the effect based on number. Either 1, add it to your hand, 2, 3, 4, 5, shuffle into your deck, and then 6 is special summon it to kind of gamble a little bit. But the only thing that's kind of a bummer is it has to be the exact amount that you paid, which sucks. So you can't send Archfiend Eccentric. I hate that. You have to send something else. Or you can't send Cavalry, one of the ones that has 0. Boral Sword, you don't go into this that often, but it's there in case you get the opportunity. 1 copy of Boral Load, just in case. Topologic Trispania to pop all spells and traps on the field. Unicorn, because Unicorn's a thing, and you can pop stuff with it, and it's a Dark Fiend, so it actually can be special summoned. Like, that's just crazy. I go into Unicorn all the time in this deck, and people are like, what? I thought that was a light monster. It's yellow. What? Phoenix just to pop spells and traps. Cerberus to pop monsters. 2 Wee-Witch because everything's dark, and so if you make this, and you have Paralabyrinth live, and you bring this back, it goes up to 4k on summon. Like, it could match an Obelisk, which is crazy. Cherubini, I play Cherubini in here because you can mill, like, Eccentric to the graveyard, or not Eccentric, but you can mill, I want to call her Eccentric, but it's not. It's, Eris to the graveyard, but that, I mean, that's what I really use it for. 1 copy of Baguska because you can make it with Cavalry. 1 Evilsworn Exciton Knight because you can pop boards. Phantom Knight's a Break Sword because you can, you know, make it with Tour Guide and the Archfiend Eris, and then 1 Dante because you can mill all sorts of stuff to the graveyard so you can get more plays off of your revivals traps. So that's it for the deck, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Basically, you use like Master King and this and then these. Like, that's mainly it. Like, these right here, like those 7 right there is what you really use. So anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. It's a really fun deck and you should totally give it a try. It's one of those decks that you really can't build it the wrong way. It just needs, like, this deck really needs a little bit of support. And Archfiends is such a wide, like, archetype that's just covered by a bunch of stuff. I think it's kind of, like, been swept under the rug, and people need to, like, look at it. And they need to just give it, like, an extra deck monster and a really good normal summon in the deck that could negate all monster effects. Like, it would be good. Like, it would be really a good deck that can negate the fiend effects, like, so he doesn't have to, like, destroy himself during the end phase and he doesn't lose that attack. But anyways, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Tell me what you think of this video down in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. DarkArmedDuelist out.